Lesson 33. We have a new pranayama today, described in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, chapter 2, starting with Sutra 48. Then Surya Bedhana is described. Assuming an asana on a comfortable seat, the yogin should slowly draw in the energy outside through the right nadi, Pingala. Surya is a sun. Bedhana means piercing. So piercing the sun. Surya Bindu. That tells us that this is related to the bottom. Surya Bindu in the center of Muladhara chakra. Also, Satmarama tells us that the energy, he doesn't say which energy, he doesn't say Shiva or Shakti, but he says the energy should be drawn in through the right channel, which is Pingala, which is an indication that we're dealing with Shakti energy. So, Shakti in. Sutra 49, then you should practice Kumbhaka, retaining the energy to the utmost till it is felt from the hair on the head to the ends of the nails in the toes, which means pervading, spreading throughout the whole body. Then you should slowly release the energy through the left nadi, Ida. So after the Kumbhaka, you let energy out through the left channel, which is Ida, which means Shiva out. And then, of course, followed by the final Kumbhaka. What we have here is, in fact, the first cycle of Nadi Shodhana Pranayama. Shakti in, Kumbhaka, Shiva out, Kumbhaka. Except, this is it. In Nadi Shodhana Pranayama, you have another cycle that is dealing with Shiva energy. First you increase Shakti, then you increase Shiva. But here you only increase. You increase Shakti and you decrease Shiva, leaving you with an overdose basically of Shakti. So the logic is that in yoga, every new exercise, whether that is asana or pranayama, mudra, and even in meditation, in samadhi, you always start increasing Shakti. And the reason for that is that a human being has a natural tendency to be tamas. And tamas is responsible for all the problems that we're dealing with, physically and mentally, including ignorance, lack of consciousness, but also all diseases, physically and also mental diseases, psychological diseases, is almost all related to tamas. So we start with increasing Shakti. Nadi Shodhana was just a cleansing exercise. Here we start with the first of the 8 pranayamas. Sutra 50 then provides us with some insight in the purpose or the effect of this pranayama. This excellent Surya Bedhana should again and again be practiced, as it purifies the brain, destroys diseases arising from excess of wind, and cures maladies caused by worms. Now, for most people this doesn't mean anything. What does purifying the brain mean? Purifying the brain you have to see from the perspective of ancient people who didn't have intellect, because they didn't have 20 years of compulsory education as we have been subjected to. Shakti energy leads to purification. Here is not a cleansing of the brain, but activation of intellect. That is how you should interpret this. And it is known, research shows that people who practice yoga increase their intelligence, their IQ improves. You can do this for yourself. Do a test today, practice yoga for a year, and then do a test, an IQ test, and you will see that your score will be considerably higher. Not because of books or studies, but simply by fueling the intellect with energy. It destroys diseases arising from excess of wind. What is wind? In Ayurveda, wind is tamas. Tamas diseases. Logic, if you listen to what I said at the introduction, you start with Shakti, because a human being has a natural tendency to be in tamas. So we are suffering from Ayurvedic perspective, we are suffering from wind disease caused by wind, which is tamas. And it cures maladies caused by worms. What is that? You have worms? This is about bacteria, infections. How does your body deal with infections? Fever, heat. Increasing Shakti does lead to a very subtle increase of heat in your body. It is not as dramatic as when you have a high fever, 40 degrees or 39 degrees. It's a very slight elevation. But that elevation is enough to heal infectious diseases. In the long term, you have, as the sutra says, or the previous sutra, you have to do it every day or regularly. In the long term, it leads to a reduction of infectious diseases. Healing those that you already have and preventing those that you do not have yet and then will not get. Questions? Shakti in, Kumbhaka, Shiva out, Kumbhaka. Slowly, gradually. Don't rush. We have 35 minutes, only one cycle, so you have a lot of time left for concentration on nada. So don't go too quickly through the counting. All right?